Hey there, how you doing? Not me trying to be relevant to this old story. But it feels weird if I don't address it, moreover to finally close this chapter once and for all. I came to Wales in January all fresh-eyed and excited to embark on this foreign journey, ready and enthused to say yes at every given opportunity that fell into my lap. I was living my best life for a month thinking I was unstoppable, learning something I was passionate in, traveling for once, adapting to a whole new culture for the first time in my life. Everything felt too good to be true. But then, March happened and you already know what happens next. I spent what was supposed to be 2 weeks of quarantine that slowly snowballed to 3 months filled with confusion, frustration, and loneliness. Fast forward to about a month later, I learned to adapt to the new norm of being stared at when I wear my mask to Tesco's. And I've developed a new pastime where I watch people walk their dogs outside my window. Yeah, exactly like a creep. If it's anything that this confusing chunk of a year has taught me was that grabbing opportunities can only go far, but to be handed these chances and get stripped away from it all of a sudden contextualize a meaningful grasp to see la vie this year than ever before. I got frustrated at myself during the lockdown and questioned the universe, why do I always not get what I want? All I ever dreamt during the past 4 years ever since I started uni was to travel like how many of my friends were doing at our age. When it came to my turn to have a taste of adventure, it gets stripped away in the most heart-wrenching way ever. I saved up a lot of money from working part-time at cafes, freelancing, hosting events, basically keeping myself occupied while balancing my studies and YouTube just so I can afford stuff. I've never been anywhere on the other side of the world before, so when I stepped foot in London, I romanticized every single corner, every block, every park I went because I really couldn't believe I was there. Sounds ridiculous, I know, but I came from a family who just had enough to eat, study, and commute to places, but we never had the luxury to splurge on anything. This had made me incredibly self-reliant growing up, so naturally I really had to fend for myself to buy things that I needed, like my phone, my laptop, my camera. If I didn't purchase these items myself, I wouldn't be who I am today. When the virus hit the UK, my parents were facing the worst financial crisis that they ever had, so they had to cut my expenses even more. As if what they gave me for food were a lot, but I made do with whatever they can afford, and I'm glad I had savings to prepare myself too. It came to a point where I was extremely worried about my family's well-being back home because at least I can imagine that I was camping out with friends in a foreign place where I just had to make sure I eat and not touch a human being. Whereas my family had to face the reality of finding money, thinking when's the next meal come in, and I had to consider the fact that my parents are getting old too. In June, I got to see life come back bit by bit. It started out just my friends and I discovering random farms and abandoned places, to oversleeping during Raya, leaving Arisa and Lee to do the preparation for our feast. We saw nature come alive over a 45-minute walk. We did fancy picnics on campus. Sometimes I think about how much Dave would have enjoyed his time if he was still with us. Generally speaking, we finessed our days away because we knew our time was slowly coming to an end. From time to time, my friends would randomly text me, "Hey Rika, come over to my place, I got food, let's eat together." And there's this one time, Yuki and Alif, they texted me to give me food to make up for the time I was crying alone in my room during the lockdown on my birthday in April. I've always valued birthdays because to me this was the only day I really faced myself and said, "Hey Rika, you are valid." Because only God knows how much I despise myself on a regular basis. Despite everything going back to normal, I can't help myself but to be a little bit cynical. Thinking about my first day in class here, ready to make a bomb-ass film, truly experience frat parties, seeing people wasted every single night, eyes drooping from completing assignments, I already knew this experience wouldn't last. I struggle a little bit writing this last part because I know my friends watches my videos and I don't want to creep people out how much they mean to me. I've been in the same class with these people for the past 4 years and they've been with me since I made cringy videos on YouTube. I'd be lying if I said this experience was ideal, but it sure was wholesome and depressive all in one. And it taught me this one thing that I'll forever keep close to my heart, and that is being grateful can really bring you so far. Several months later, goodbye was my most hated word at that time. I said goodbye to the first friend I made in Wales. I said goodbye to the people I lived and had breakfast with every single day. I said goodbye to the friends I just made, and I can't believe they literally came by to our bus that night just to send us off. Y'all, I was crying like shit. It was not a pretty sight of me that night. I said goodbye to the loudest birds on campus, goodbye to my room where I laughed and cried the most, goodbye to my lecturers who were so supportive of my storytellings, and most importantly, the hardest one of all was when I had to say goodbye to my friends who I'd grown so tremendously with these past few crazy months. Not to be too dramatic, I spiraled into this hole of nothingness when I landed in Malaysia. Although I was back home, everything felt familiar, yet I found myself crying to sleep one night because my heart just physically hurts. That was when I knew I was homesick. I missed everything about Wales, all the good and bad. Till today, I'm still dealing with this yearning, but I'm getting better at accepting it and moving on. Now, my life has changed once again, and I started internship at a production house in Malaysia, and I was tested yet again, both physically and mentally, in balancing out the reality of adulting. Don't get me wrong, I was on this new and amazing journey practicing and becoming an actual producer for TV commercials, and I must admit, working on these projects were really cool. Currently, I've signed as my company's official in-house production assistant. After many months of working, I'm stumped yet again, questioning whether this is truly the path I want to go forth with for my future, even though I am doing something that I really enjoy, which is filmmaking and storytelling. Then again, life is all about the ups and downs. I came across this paragraph on Twitter from a book called Pillow Heart's Healing Thought, which I strongly believe in, and they said, you can't skip chapters. That's not how life works. You have read every line, met every character, you won't enjoy all of it. Hell, some chapters will make you cry for weeks. You will read things that you don't want to read. You will have moments when you don't want the pages to end, but you have to keep going. Stores keep the world revolving. Live yours, don't miss out. As for me, my story is this bittersweet journey of being on top of the world and see everything crash and burn the moment I had everything. When we move on to 2021, I know I'll still look back to this year and think that although this year was shit, but by far, this was the best year I've ever had in my life, and I would not change it for one bit. So, I guess that is all I have for now. Thank you for tuning in to me this entire year. You guys have made me so happy and accepted this year, and for that, I'll forever be grateful for this tiny community I have on YouTube. Till the next story, I'll see you soon.